Why do we keep waiting for motivation, as if it's something external, something that finds us when the timing is right? Why do we tell ourselves, once I feel motivated, I'll begin? And then quietly watch weeks, months, sometimes years pass. It's a strange thing, motivation. We talk about it as if it's fuel, as if some people have more of it than others, as if success belongs to those who wake up every day already inspired. But what if that belief is exactly what's holding us back? Because the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It's emotional, it's inconsistent, and it was never meant to carry the weight we've placed on it. Most people don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they misunderstand what motivation actually is. We've been taught subtly, repeatedly, that motivation comes first. That action follows motivation. That if we could just feel different, everything would change. But feelings are not a strategy. And motivation on its own is not leadership. When motivation fades, we assume something is wrong with us. We label ourselves as lazy, undisciplined, broken in some quiet way, and that story becomes heavy. But what if nothing is wrong with you at all? What if motivation isn't the engine, but the exhaust? What if motivation is the result of something deeper, something more human? This is where the real conversation begins. Because beneath every failed habit, every abandoned goal, there is usually not a lack of effort, but a lack of meaning. We live in a world that is very good at telling us what to do, and increasingly good at telling us how to do it, but often silent on the most important question of all. Why? Why this goal? Why now? Why does it matter, really? When that question goes unanswered, motivation has nothing to attach to. It floats, it fades. It disappears the moment things get uncomfortable. And things always get uncomfortable. Human beings are not machines. We are not designed to run on commands and instructions alone. We are meaning-driven creatures. From the earliest moments of our lives, we look for patterns, for safety, for belonging, for a sense that what we're doing fits into a larger story. When that story is missing, the brain resists. You can feel it in the hesitation, in the procrastination that doesn't make sense, in the internal negotiation that happens before every small action. I'll do it later. Today isn't the right day. I'll start fresh tomorrow. These aren't time management issues. They are belief signals. The brain is quietly asking, is this worth the cost? And if the answer is unclear, motivation shuts down. This is why pressure doesn't work for long. Pressure can force compliance, but it cannot create commitment. It can produce short bursts of action, but never consistency. Think about how many times you've pushed yourself through willpower alone. How long did it last? A week, a month, maybe. And then something happened. Life got busy, energy dropped, the emotional reward disappeared, and without realizing it you stopped, not because you didn't care, but because caring without clarity is exhausting. This pattern shows up everywhere. In workplaces where people do exactly what's required and nothing more. In classrooms where potential exists but engagement is low. In personal lives filled with good intentions and unfinished plans. On the surface, it looks like a motivation problem, but underneath, it's a trust problem. Trust in the direction, trust in the purpose. Trust that the effort actually means something. When people don't trust the why, they conserve energy. They protect themselves. They disengage, not consciously, quietly. This is especially true in leadership. A leader can have the best strategy in the world, clear goals, detailed plans, strong incentives. But if people don't understand why they are being asked to follow, they won't give their best. They'll give what's safe. They'll follow instructions, but they won't take ownership. They'll meet expectations, but they won't exceed them. They'll show up physically, but not emotionally. Because ownership requires belief, and belief begins with meaning. Consider a moment when you worked harder than anyone expected. When you stayed late, fixed something that wasn't technically your responsibility, or kept going when quitting would have been easier. What drove you? It wasn't motivation in the traditional sense. It wasn't excitement. It wasn't pressure. It was alignment. You believed in the outcome. You believed in the people involved. You believed that your effort mattered. That belief created energy. This is the great misunderstanding of motivation. We think it's something we must summon. In reality, it's something that emerges when the conditions are right. And the most important condition is a clear why. A why is not a slogan. It's not a sentence you write once and forget. A real why is felt before it's explained. It answers the question, why should I care, even when no one is watching? Without that answer, discipline becomes a battle. With it, discipline becomes a byproduct. This is why habits built only on outcomes rarely last. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to be successful. There's nothing wrong with these goals. But they are destinations, not directions. They tell us where we want to go, but not why the journey is worth it. And when the journey gets difficult, as it always does, destinations alone are not enough. The brain needs context. The heart needs connection. This is why people will endure extraordinary hardship for a cause they believe in, but struggle to maintain basic routines for goals they don't fully understand. Meaning changes the way effort feels. Effort without meaning feels heavy. Effort with meaning feels purposeful. This distinction matters. Because when effort feels heavy, we look for shortcuts, we look for hacks. We look for motivation. When effort feels purposeful, we build systems. We build trust with ourselves. We keep going even when motivation is gone. This is where leadership thinking applies not just to teams, but to personal life. You are leading yourself whether you realize it or not. And leadership is not about control, it's about clarity. A leader who only tells people what to do creates followers. A leader who explains why creates leaders. The same is true internally. If you only tell yourself what you should do, you create resistance. If you understand why it matters to who you are becoming, you create alignment. Alignment is quiet. It doesn't feel dramatic, but it's powerful. It shows up as consistency without constant effort, as decisions that feel simpler, as progress that continues even on difficult days. This is the emotional realization most people eventually reach. They stop asking, "How do I motivate myself?" And they start asking, "What am I actually committed to?" Commitment is different from motivation. Motivation is emotional. Commitment is intentional. Motivation fluctuates with mood. Commitment is anchored to values. When you are committed to something meaningful, you don't need to feel inspired every day. You simply show up. This doesn't mean the work becomes easy. It means the work becomes honest. You stop pretending that success is about constant enthusiasm. You accept that progress is often quiet, repetitive, and uncomfortable. And you stop taking the discomfort personally. This shift changes everything. Because when discomfort is expected, it no longer signals failure. It signals growth. This is also where long-term thinking begins. Short-term motivation is reactive. It responds to rewards, praise, urgency. Long-term commitment is proactive. It's rooted in identity and purpose. People who think long-term don't ask, "What will make me feel good today?" They ask, "What will matter 5 years from now?" And they understand that not every day will feel meaningful, but the direction will be. This is why trust is so essential. Trust allows people to stay committed even when outcomes are unclear. Trust allows effort without immediate reward. In relationships, in teams, in personal growth, trust is what sustains action when motivation fades. And trust is built through consistency and clarity, not intensity. Intensity looks impressive. Consistency builds results. The world often celebrates intensity, the dramatic breakthroughs. But most meaningful progress happens quietly, in repetition, in decisions no one applauds. This is why relying on motivation is risky. Motivation loves drama. Purpose loves patience. When you begin with why, you stop chasing motivation and start building meaning. You design your life, your work, your habits around something deeper than short-term emotion. And something remarkable happens. You stop needing to convince yourself to act. Action becomes a natural extension of who you believe you are. You don't wake up every day motivated. You wake up committed. And commitment, over time, becomes confidence, not loud confidence, quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need constant reassurance. The kind that keeps going when no one is watching. The kind that survives failure without collapsing. This is what actually works. Not hacks, not waiting to feel ready, but understanding your why deeply enough that you're willing to move forward even when it's uncomfortable. Because the truth is, motivation will always fail eventually. It's not designed to last, but meaning endures. So if you find yourself stuck, unmotivated, frustrated with your own inconsistency, pause before judging yourself. Ask a better question. Not, "What's wrong with me?" but, "Why does this matter to me?" Because when you find that answer, not a perfect one, not a polished one, but an honest one, motivation won't need to be chased. It will follow quietly, reliably, and for the long run.